Good to get a win this past week on the road, and I think our kids are excited. I know our fan base but it's like we told our players, we got 24 hours to celebrate and enjoy it, and then it's time to move on to Alabama. When you talk about Alabama, first of all, you talk about the rivalry. This game means a whole lot to a whole lot of people. Very important game. Not only because it's the next one, but the tradition that comes with this game. And I think we got to do our part to create this rivalry again. It's not been much of a rivalry the last few years, so we've got to uphold our end of it. Alabama has a tremendous team. They're a complete football team. Offensively, have lots of playmakers. It starts at quarterback, and they actually have two guys that are really, really good. Really good runners, are huge up front. Great wide receivers who have speed, that play physical, can run with the ball after the catch. Mike Locksley does a phenomenal job spreading the ball around, being creative. They're great on third down. They score touchdowns. They create explosive plays. Basically, they've been able to do whatever they want to do defensively. They've always been very good on defense. They're big up front. They got guys that can rush the quarterback. They can play man-to-man. They're really good at linebacker. So all three levels, they create issues. Got great returners. And then when you have guys who can run and big men like they have, you're going to be good on special teams. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for us. We're looking forward to it. It's a great measuring stick, to play probably the best team in the country right now. I think our players will be looking forward to it. With that, I'll take any questions.
Daniel and Jesse.
Coach, you had Tyson Helton down on the field for the game against Auburn. Do you anticipate continuing doing that moving forward? Is he going to move back up into the box for the remainder of the season?
No, he'll be on the sideline.
Just some guys that got dinged up in the game. Jeremy, what's kind of the status of Dominic Wood-Anderson, Jameer Johnson, and Micah Abernathy entering the week?
When you get in SEC play, you get this time of year, everybody has guys that's going to get dinged up, banged up, and everybody's got really good medical staffs. We've got a great medical staff. They'll do a great job getting our guys ready to practice and giving them a chance to get prepared to play Saturday. So all those guys will be day to day.
Rick Russo.
Coach, the recruiting aside, and it's obviously been terrific, why is Nick so successful?
Well, I think he had a plan. Going in there in 2007, I was lucky enough to be a part of it, to experience it firsthand, from the foundation that was built, the organization part of it, the vision, the work ethic, and sticking to the plan. I got a chance to experience it and was part of it for the first 6 years. Then over the years, he's adapted as the game has changed, the rules change. He's always on the cutting edge. So, I'm very fortunate to have an opportunity to work with him and the people that he hired. Obviously, there's a lot of really good coaches to work with him.
Patrick Brown, Blake Topmeyer.
Jeremy, what did you think of the targeting call on Daniel Batuli, and how will you guys go this week about kind of accounting for his absence in the first half on Saturday?
The targeting rule is here to protect our game, and not only is it to protect the players that get hit, but it's also some to protect the guys who deliver the hits. I don't think in any way was Daniel trying to hurt the guy, but his technique was he had his eyes down, and as he approached the ball carrier, the guy kind of slumped down, and they did hit head to head. So coaching point for him and the rest of our team, and it will help protect him, is you always need to keep your eyes up when you're tackling. So fortunately for everybody involved, nobody was hurt. So, but it's a lesson for him to learn. Unfortunately, by not using good technique, he'll have to sit out this week, and it's not good for him, and it's not good for our team.
Jeremy, with the Kongbo injury, who's kind of next up to replace him, and I guess just what are your expectations for those guys?
Well, it's why we practice the way we do. I mean, I hate it for Kongbo. He's moved around since we've been here, and he's worked really hard. He's been a guy that's tried to do everything we've asked him to do. His guy's going to graduate this semester, so he's done really good academically. It's unfortunate. You know, it's one of those deals where you would like, if we're going to have targeting fouls, you'd like to have some of those, you know, when you get cut blocks, some of that stuff being reviewed. Not saying that it was legal or illegal, but you look at it, we got guys that finished the game there, and with DeAndre Johnson, and you know, we got Jordan Allen, Austin Smith. So we got guys that have been working hard and took a lot of reps this year, and they'll now get an opportunity.
Rob, Jimmy David.
Coach, on the offense the other day, obviously didn't have a lot of success running the ball, but how important was it to stick with it? I mean, I think you called 36 runs to complement the passing game and keep Auburn honest.
Well, there was lots of runs out there that we didn't execute very well. You know, there's some runs that Auburn whipped us up front, and there's some runs that we didn't block the right guys. So we've got to do a better job. I mean, we got to make the other team beat us every snap, and we didn't do that every snap Saturday. So we're not going to beat many teams if we can't run the football. You got to be able to run the football in this league to have success.
Jimmy, a couple things. One, what does this win do for the team's confidence? And secondly, with the targeting rule, is it hard to coach avoiding targeting?
Well, you know, I don't know what the statistics are, but since they started having the targeting rule, I can't think of many guys that I've coached that have been ejected. So I think it goes back to fundamentals. You know, if you see what you hit and you know the rules, you know, you're probably going to be okay. And unfortunately, you know, Daniel did have his eyes down. And, you know, I think when he first went in there, it was probably going to be a chest shot. But as a couple of guys hit the guy's head goes down, and it's head to head. So can't argue the rule. I mean, it's there to protect the game and the players.
And what does this do for your team's confidence?
You know, I think anytime you win or you play well, I think it gives you a little bit of confidence. And, you know, I think our players probably need that. You know, they work hard. You work hard to try to have success. And, you know, and this day and time it's measured on wins and losses, you know. But I can tell you this, when we watch the tape today, there's going to be a lot of guys that played their best game, and there's going to be some guys that played their worst game. So we got to get everybody to be at their best when it counts the most.
David, then Brent and Wes.
Jim, as you turn the page for this week, how would you kind of describe the experience of looking at it, preparing for a program that you obviously know so well?
Well, I don't see when it comes to preparation offensively we're going to try to find ways to make first downs, defensively stop them, and kicking game be productive, you know. I watched them on offense. I'm not sure how many times that we need to be working on our punt return unit. We probably need to be working on our punt unit a whole lot.
Brent.
Coach, from a defensive standpoint, how much better is your team at understanding things pre-snap, adjusting to that, and how much of that showed up second quarter on once you guys settled into their pace of play Saturday?
Well, I think we got some guys on our defense that are way further along than others. Some of it has to do with the age and experience and probably not having as much anxiety when you go out there and play because they've played more. I think some of it has to do with the fact that, you know, guys have played certain positions longer and we've had to bump some guys around. So it's probably, when you look at our players, it's hard to judge it as a unit because there's so many moving parts. But we do have some guys that are playing really well, and we got to get a lot of the other guys to kind of raise their level and be more consistent.
Wes and then Mark.
Jeremy, as you look at Alabama on both sides of the ball, are they doing mostly the same stuff that they've been doing from the time you were there and the time that you've been around that program, or have they just have they done some drastically different things this year?
Well, I think offensively, you definitely see Mike Loxley's kind of stamp on it. It's a lot different than it was 10 years ago, I can assure you. I think over the last 3 or 4 years, they've kind of moved in this direction offensively, but they're really spreading the ball around, got all kind of playmakers. I mean, they've really had to try hard not to score 100 points a couple of games, So instead of trying to score 50, they've tried to score, keep from scoring 100. So, and then defensively, they're always going to be sound, going to be physical, going to deny the ball, put pressure on the quarterback, try to dictate to the offense. So, and they're always good in special teams.
Jeremy, you talked about this game meaning a lot to a lot of people. For you personally, what does this game mean to you, especially being on the Tennessee side of the rivalry for the first time this weekend?
Well, I grew up in North Alabama, so I know firsthand, just growing up, the passion for this rivalry, really on both sides. Where I'm from, there's lots of Tennessee fans and lots of Alabama fans. So, growing up in it and understanding it and watching it and seeing it, and playing in it, coaching in it. I have an appreciation. I've been on both sides of it, so wins and losses. So, it's an important game. It's the next game, and it's bragging rights for that year. So, it's exciting to me to get a chance to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Juwan Jennings had his best game statistically, at least, last week. I was just wondering what you've seen from him as the season's gone on, and how has he kind of responded off the field after getting that second chance and being reinstated?
We're 10 months here, and Juwan Jennings hadn't done anything, but he's done everything that I've asked him to do since I've been here. So, he's one of my favorite guys. Guy competes, works hard. He loves the University of Tennessee, has passion for it. He's healthy. I've said all along the guy had a bad knee injury. He just got started practicing in fall camp, and it would take him a while to get his legs back under him. So he's closer to being healthy. So it's good to see that. It's good to see him be able to go out there and compete, because I think he's a guy that has an impact on the other players on our team. So I'm glad for him.
David Cobb and Jesse.
Jeremy, halfway through the season, what's sort of your overall midseason evaluation of this team? And is 3-3 maybe about what you expected when you looked at the schedule before the season?
Well, no, I didn't sit there and all summer and say I hope we're 3-3 after 6 games. But I think there's lots of lessons that we've learned every week. I say it every week. When we execute and do what we're supposed to do, we give ourselves a chance. When we don't, we don't. So we've got to execute at a high level for us to have success, and that's what we're striving to do every day.
Jesse, then Corey, then Lewis in the back.
Chance Hall, Eli Wolf, Markwell Osborne, all three of those guys were kind of pushed into action on Saturday. When you got to rewatch the tape, what did you kind of think of them kind of getting thrown in and how they played versus the Tigers?
Well, I think with Chance Hall, he's a guy that, at one time Chance was a really good football player. And the guy hadn't played for 2 years. He's been working hard to overcome, a knee surgery or a couple of knee surgeries. So he's another guy, kind of like Juwan, that is getting back into shape. When we first started this deal and we thought we could get him back, our goal was to get him back for the Florida game. He kind of got ahead of schedule there for a while. We might have pushed him too far or too hard, but that was him wanting to go. He's wanting to get back to play. But him playing well or playing is not a surprise to me, because I've coached against him when he was a freshman. So he was a pretty dadgum good football player then, and hopefully he'll continue to improve and get his strength back in his leg and continue to play for us. The other guys, they've actually had good weeks of practice, and Marquell's a guy that has played corner. He's had to work some at Star, some at Money, and I think over the last couple of weeks, he kind of made a decision. You know what? I'm gonna kind of create a niche for me on this football team, whether it's in special teams or I'm gonna go compete at corner or Star or Money. But I'm gonna find a way so when my time comes, I'm ready to play. And I think he's a guy that can help us, and I'm glad to see that he made up his mind to do that. It's positive.
Lewis and Corey.
In the second half, there was a huge adjustment with the defense. It seemed they struggled a little bit in the first half of those first couple of drives, and there was a big turnaround there, only allowing 10 rushing yards in the second half. What was the biggest difference that you noticed from the sideline from your guys on the field?
It's you'll probably think I'm crazy, but we made the same calls the first half we made the second half, and they probably did too. In the first half they executed better than we did. In the second half we probably executed a little better than they did. So we didn't make much adjustments. We just tried to go in there and fix what we game planned on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I think our guys done a good job of doing that. It's what happens when you play these guys. The speed of the game, it's different than what you normally play, and you can't be looking at everything else, So you got to be looking at what you're supposed to look at, and I think we got better as the game went.
Corey and John Adams.
We know everyone you recruit you think can be a good player, but at what point did you guys realize that Tua could be as good as he's turned into?
I remember when he came to camp, I didn't see him throw. They took him behind the indoor practice field down there, and some of the guys were down there throwing, and when they came back, they were all raving about it. He's a phenomenal quarterback. He's a better person, I can tell you that. Just being around him, got a smile on his face. Comes from a really good family, and cares a lot about his teammates. So he's an exceptional young man and a really good football player.
Last two, John Adams, Trey Wallace.
Jeremy, you mentioned that the offense was a little different with the new OC. Is the defense, does it look just like the defense, everything they do, as when you were the defense coordinator?
John, I started watching tape on them last night on offense, and after watching a couple of games, I was afraid to look at the defense. So I know most of the players, and I know Tosh and Coach Saban, and statistically, you can look at them. They're one of the best defenses in the country. I know their personnel. They've got dominant players at all three levels. Got playmakers. They create turnovers. So I'm sure there's probably a little bit of differences, but it'll be an attacking style defense that tries to put pressure on the quarterback.
Okay, final question.
Coach, with the 50-50 balls you guys were throwing on Saturday, was that something you saw in the Auburn secondary that allowed you to maybe test them deep, or was it something you were trying to set up early with the run?
These guys play man-to-man, lots of snaps, so we didn't block them real well up front, so I figured instead of running it right here and not blocking them, we might as well throw it out there as fast as we could. Might have a better opportunity.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.